Okay, hey YouTube. So today I wanted to talk to you about some misconceptions of working with guide dogs. And the first two I'm going to talk about actually came from an O&M instructor who has worked in the field for years and years and years. And I feel are probably the most important to discuss. And these were at the top of the questions that she had from people, or comments that she had on people. The first one is, well, I don't need orientation and mobility because I'm just gonna go get a dog. A dog will help you with your mobility. A dog will help you not walk into things, and a dog will to some extent help you with your orientation. However, a dog is not a fix-all. I cannot, in the middle of downtown Houston, say, okay, Epic, take me home. He'd look at me like I was an idiot. So you have to have some key skills to work off of. Also, just because you have a dog and you're doing great with your dog doesn't mean something won't happen. I've had my dog get sick before. I had Epic injured a paw not that long ago, and so he needed to be on rest, and I was not able to to really work him for 2 or 3 days. That's gonna happen. Also, there's going to be times when it's just not really a good idea to bring your dog, either for safety reasons or convenience. I go to a lot of rock concerts. I love mosh pits. I'm not taking my dog into a mosh pit. That's just stupid, So there are times when, even as a dog guide user, you're still going to want to have your cane. In fact, I tend to carry a fold-up cane in my backpack just in case something does happen to my dog. Because I do a lot of travel in London and New York and places that I don't really want to be wandering around with no cane and maybe no dog or a hurt dog or whatever. The second big question that she would receive is, well, we have a family dog, let's just train him or her. Yeah, that's not how it works. Well, yes, here, and I'm only speaking of America, other countries have their own rules. Well, in America, yes, you can owner train your own dog. That does not mean every dog is cut out for service. The Seeing Eye, who breeds and trains and who's been doing this since 1929, and who is willing to have their dogs change careers. If a dog doesn't work out as a Seeing Eye dog, it might be a therapy dog for a courthouse or whatever. Even they only have a 70% success rate for getting dogs working into the field. It's very, very demanding for a dog to be a service animal. First off, the health has to be there, the temperament has to be there. How old is this dog you're thinking about training? Is this dog already like 6? Well, even if it is perfect and excellent, that doesn't give the dog many working years left. How big is the dog? Are we talking about like a 20-pound dog? Are you going to adequately be able to feel it stop into traffic? Then there's just the whole training. Do you really know how to train Fido? Is Fido even trained in basic obedience? Did you yourself train Fido in basic obedience? If you did, how is Fido's socialization? How does Fido deal with stress? There are plenty dogs, it's just not fair to make them work. It stresses them out. So unfortunately, you might have a really, really good dog who's a great pet. That does not mean that Fido is going to be a good service dog. And in a later video, I'll talk about like the Seeing Eye and a very basic rundown kind of their training and things like that. So we get to some of the misconceptions that I've been told, or friends of mine have been told. The biggest one being the traffic lights. Everyone thinks the dog can read the traffic lights or traffic signs. Guys, I'm sorry to have to tell you, dogs do not read traffic signs, and they do not judge if it's safe to go based on the traffic. It just doesn't happen. Me, as the person, as the brains of the operation, will give the command forward when I think it's safe to go forward. If a dog does not see a car coming and believes it to be safe, the dog will go. It doesn't matter what that light says. That light could be red, blue, purple, pink, flashing. The light could be doing cartwheels. Dog doesn't care. If the dog, my big thing, like, it will be silent cars, or if there's a truck and maybe I don't hear a car turning in front of me, the dog won't go. And that's called intelligent disobedience. The dog will intelligently choose to disobey me. And I'll wait. If sometimes at that point I can hear the problem. In the case of a silent car, I can't. I'll wait. I'll give the command hop up. And when it's safe to go, the dog will complete the crossing. Never, at least trained from the seeing eye. I know that there are some special cases where dogs may be trained to independently decide to go. Speaking of typical dog guide training schools, never will the dog just independently decide to cross the street. That wouldn't be safe. I might be at the corner, listening to my phone, getting directions on GPS, answering a text, answering a call. If he just decided, okay, we're gonna go now, that wouldn't work. Another big, misconception is that you can just tell your dog, okay, take me to Walmart, take me to Taco Bell. It's not, well, yes, you could train your dog to find a particular Taco Bell or a particular Walmart. You're not going to be giving that command 12 blocks away. It's more like, okay, I know I'm kind of near the location, I might start suggesting it. I don't really teach Epic the names of a lot of places, but I'll suggest left, or right. And also, if it's a place that we've been to a lot and that he thinks I might want to go to, he'll naturally look over to say, hey, do you want to go here today? We can go here today. And then I'll say, oh, no thanks, hop up. Or, yeah, good boy, take me there. Just depending. Another huge misconception is that these dogs don't get to play. I've been told, oh, it's so terrible, he doesn't get time to be a dog, he doesn't get to play. He gets plenty of time to be a dog, just not while he's working. He gets plenty of love, he gets plenty of attention. We get a bark box every single month, and toys that other people decide that he needs. And he does get to play with other people. Again, just not while we're working. We don't do dog parks, and that's a personal preference of mine, but he does have other dog friends who I know and trust, who we arrange for him to play with. We don't have a backyard right now, so we do have to go to other people's yards and take advantage of them. But like where I lived at in England, I had a backyard. He got to play it, so that's really, honestly, just because you see a dog, just because they're serious, just because they're working, does not mean that's how they act when they are not working. When Epic isn't working, he is as goofy as all get out. Now Connie, my first guide, was a lot more serious. Her version of play was to chew on a bone while I held it. Just a difference in personality. Not a right, not a wrong, just a difference. There's also this misconception that dog guides, if they're really well trained, they'll never make a mistake. That's not true. Dogs are dogs, and while they shouldn't, if having a dog is causing you more stress, and if they're making more mistakes than they're helping, that's an issue. But your dog is not a robot. It's a dog, and every dog has weaknesses, just like you have weaknesses at your job. Epic's, one of his big weaknesses is he's interested in other dogs. Sometimes he gets a bit distracted and I have to bring his attention back to me. That doesn't mean he's fake. That doesn't mean he's not real. It means that we have some issues that we work on. Not a big deal. The biggest way that you can tell, whether somebody has a legitimate service dog or not, when the dog makes a mistake, how do they handle it? Are they even aware that a mistake has been made? Do they just keep going? Do they seem oblivious? Do they do something to try to rectify the situation? All things to look at. So I mean, that's just something to remember. These are kind of like the biggest misconceptions that I could think of. I'm sure I'll be doing more videos on this because more come up. People, I'm sure, will say, oh, you forgot to mention this, or you forgot to mention that. One anecdote story, though, I would like to tell was told to me by a presenter who, I can't remember what he was presenting, but he was a dog guide handler. And he was in a lift, in an elevator. And somebody got on, and for whatever reason, I guess there was no braille in this elevator. So he asked the person, excuse me, can you hit floor 2? And got no response. He waited. Said, excuse me, can you hit floor 2? The lady goes, are you talking to me? The guy goes, yeah, could you please hit floor 2? And she goes, oh, I thought you were talking to your dog and telling him what floor to press. So I just want to mention, unfortunately, dogs can't count. They can't read. Just so you know. So, as always, if anybody has any other dog guide antidotes or anything, let me know. Feel free, email me, whatever. And thanks for watching.